Hello, and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we get put the real and the tea in reality. And we can always come as first to quench your thirst. I'm your girl Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I loves me some tea. Purr. I am drinking nothing. I have been sitting in this spot for the last 2 hours. And so I didn't get up to go grab anything. But I do have the most important thing in the world to me, the thing that means the most. It's my cup mug. Period. And soon enough, I know we'll be able to do a panel full of cup mugs. It's just whenever that happens. Who knows at this
Who
point?
knows?
Who knows? I don't know. But you know what? It's happening. And when it does, I'll be ready to celebrate. But you can get your cup mug or any of our beautiful cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally, even though it takes a minute. We do that. And domestically here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So there are no excuses. Unless your postal service is saying we'll take our time. And if that's the case, it's okay. A delay is a delay, but it's not gonna get there. So order your cup merch. Period.
Well, I'm David Healy, and I don't have a fierce intro, but I do have a fierce shirt. Who could I be wearing? I'm wearing the one and only Miss Fierce-alicious Sabotage. And you know what? I think this might be the shirt I've worn the most on the podcast because I wore it a lot during her time on the Traders Canada. But right now, I'm just drinking some water.
And hi, I'm River, your Brazilian correspondent here on the cup. Today, words are hard, but I am drinking some pink lemonade uh, out of my skull mug because I wanted a lot of it.
As you should. It looks beautiful in that skull mug.
Mm.
I'm tempted to go grab something to drink now because of it. But yeah, we're here, y'all. We're here to talk Canada, Drag Race, Drag Race Canada, episode 5. It was the girl group challenge. It was a lot going on. I'm excited to talk about it. I feel like it was a good episode. We're in the 90s, baby, and that's my era. That's where I thrive. That's
Same.
that's where I live. So I was like excited. So we're gonna talk about all of that. But before we do, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, do all the things. We are coming to the end of the year, which means we got to wrap up the whole year in television, and we got a lot of great content coming your way to wrap up this great year. So you want to follow us on all of our channels. This channel, TV, ESC, Ringside, a lot of content is coming out towards the end of the year, so you want to be a part of that. You don't want to miss a single video. So subscribe to this channel, all of our other channels. All those links will be in the description below, as well as our audio podcast links, so you can hear us on the go. And our Patreon is down there as well, where you can get early access to a lot of these end of the year reviews. Some of them might already be done. I'm just saying, you just got to go check out the Patreon and find out. And go join that. You get some early access to all of our end of the year reviews and some early access to most of the look over here's that we do on this channel. And yeah, go follow us. Do all the things. We appreciate the support. We really do. So let's get into Canada because it happened and it was a great show. I'm just saying, I had a good time watching it. What
Bittersweet.
about you? Bittersweet indeed.
Yes.
Mhm.
Bittersweet indeed. And if you want to know why it's bittersweet indeed, we actually had an exit interview with the person who's gone, and you want to check that out. It's out on the channel right now. So go check it out. Ding. Ding. That's the way. That way. Not that way. That way. Go check it out. We'll tell you who it is at the end of this podcast. But they come back into the workroom and she's gone, y'all.
She
She's
is.
gone. The bitch queen is gone, y'all.
Mhm.
I'm very sad about that still.
Me too, especially knowing that she's been getting a lot of hate online. Apparently, there's something about
Mm-hmm.
my timeline on Twitter and Blue Sky. It hasn't shown up, thankfully, because it would piss me off. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you need to be sending Sangina any hate. Like St. John has done nothing to deserve any hate at all.
Nothing whatsoever.
But
I
for what? I'm confused. For what?
I don't even
You know
know.
what? It doesn't matter.
It's more
doesn't
that I've
matter, just
heard
people need
it's
to stop.
happened than seen that it's happened, so I'm not even sure what they're being haters about.
it's kind of stupid. It's kind of they hate on everything, and trolls are trolls. But
Mhm.
Sanjana is an amazing, amazing human being. She's so fun to talk to, so sweet to have, and on this podcast, such a genuine person. I absolutely love her, and I will forever be a part of the Dibish Nation because
Mhm.
she is a joy, but doesn't deserve to hate. But she is gone, and they are sad. They are very sad about it, especially the Virgo Queen, who is her mother, which of course she should be sad that her daughter has left the competition. Yeah, it was a moment. Go ahead, David.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when Uma was trying to read the mirror message, and there was a part of it that I would not be able to. It was like, bah, 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 bah.
Let me do it for you. Bra, 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 bra.
How do you even
Period.
write that? How do you spell
Baby,
that?
you BRAP BRAP.
Bra, 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 bra.
Not bra.
Look,
You sound like a chicken when you
I've
did
got
it. It's
Uma
bra,
and Uma,
bra,
I
bra.
think. Because Uma couldn't do it either.
She couldn't do it. It's a black thing. I'm sorry. Y'all just don't understand it. You don't get it. And it's bra, 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 bra. When I saw it and she wrote, which is funny because Sanjana is not black, but she is a woman of color and she hangs out with us. So she black by proxy. We get it. We get it, girl. She understands. I get it. I know it.
It is a sanction. Brap, brap, brap.
It's a sanction. Brap, 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 baby. It's brap, brap, brap. Yeah. It's Caribbean culture knows what she was talking about. Indian culture knows what they're talking about. Black culture knows what you're talking about. Latin culture knows what we're talking about.
My culture doesn't get it.
It's honey, it's very funk. It is very Brazilian funk. Very much. I live, and I just wanted to say I love Sanjina. I am excited though because I know that she is coming back for an All-Stars, a Versus, a something.
For sure.
And then she's gonna have the confidence of after everything that her journey and all of that, she's gonna come back much stronger, and I'm so excited to see what she's gonna do.
Her glow up is gonna be fierce.
It's already good.
Fierce. She's fierce already. It's going to just continue to get fiercer. But yeah, Sanjina, got you, got you.
And Uma at this point is like, yeah, nobody said that they would have saved me with the beaver, so I'm gonna choose to believe that it's because you all think that I'm a threat and you didn't want to keep your competition. And Xana's like, yeah, that's what it is. I love Xana. Xana's always like yep, that's it. That's it.
Xana,
no matter what it is, Xana's like, yep, whatever makes you feel better. That's it.
She is so chaotic in the best way. I love her.
Here it is. I've been holding this in and I'm going to tell it now. My journey with Xana has been very up and down throughout this whole thing. And it got to a level of understanding.
And now it's hate.
No, absolutely not. It is definitely not hate. It's my level for Xana this week is respect. But girl, I'm respect you, but I'm a little like, but girl. It's a girl, we never.
A little side eye. Just a little
side eye. But I still respect her and I appreciate her for what she is on this show because entertainment is key. It's key for her. Love it.
Yeah. You know how you have like a love triangle? I think this season has a I don't want to say hate triangle, but like a fight triangle.
Oh, it's a fight
triangle.
A beef triangle.
A beef triangle. I love that. A beef triangle. And it's three queens I absolutely adore. So every time I'm seeing Uma fight with Michaela or Uma fighting with Xana or Xana fighting with Michaela or any combination there, I'm like, why? No.
It's just those three. And
I think it's because they are the most like outspoken and just blunt and like honest and just say what they want to say and what they think.
Yeah, but they every combination
and they have very
of them fighting has happened
when they express
in this episode.
It's so it's because everybody is on defense right now. Everybody, like everybody is on I wish you would say something about me mode. Like they are on fight or flight mode. And it's so funny to watch it because every time somebody goes home and you like, ooh, that person is really talented. Oh shoot, I gotta step up my game and I'm finna show y'all how good. And the minute somebody says something to them, it's like, what, you coming for me? Oh no. Let me show you. And it was evident seeing that in Michaela this week, and I was like living for it. It was evident seeing it in Uma this week, and I was living for it. It was evident seeing it in Xana this week, and I was living for it because everybody is on high alert now. And it's like, all right, you ain't finna knock me off my pedestal, and I'm about to pop. I'm coming out, pop. You know, they're coming out swinging. It's so fun to watch. I have never been so thoroughly entertained like I am watching Canada right now. I am so thoroughly entertained. Like I love other seasons. I'm like, I love watching it, but I am thoroughly entertained every week. Like, oh, y'all are giving me something new. And even Virgo Queen today, after when Sanjina, they said their goodbyes, Virgo was like, look here, now I ain't nobody's role model. I can just come out and show y'all bitches why I am the Virgo Queen and why y'all need to be scared. I'm coming for y'all. And I'm just like, yeah, the fight, the drive, it's electric, and I enjoy watching it. It was so good. But
Canada always comes in the end of the year and just like puts every other season like to a test to be like what's going to be the best season of the year. Canada, we not like it is the last one to come, but it always ends up being a contender for best season of the year.
Yeah, they deliver.
They know how to do it.
They deliver. And Michaela was like, look here, I was at the bottom. Thank you, Minnie, for saving me. I really appreciate you. I thank you, but just know I ain't gonna be there this week, and I'm coming for the beaver. And I'm like, okay, Miss Thing, call your shot. You call
manifestation.
Manifestation at its finest. Like she was like, I'm coming for it, and Xana was like, I mean, I would. Xana had made it very known that she would not have given Michaela the beaver. And Michaela was like, all right, then we'll see next week. We'll see this week what happened. And I was like, oop, and oop, did we see? It was so wild. It was wild, but I loved it. They go and, come in the next day, all refreshed, all happy, all good again. Minnie gets her congratulations finally, because I was like, y'all go congratulate Minnie. She did win the thing, right. But okay.
But also, did we notice what everybody was wearing? Did we notice what happened to the edit of the show and what happened to the workroom? Everything just became 90s. Like,
even from the title.
After it was the intro. It was they did like the last episode when they come back from the elimination. And then they played when they played the intro. It was 90s themed.
Yes.
Yeah, like when they cut the sides and it was like a square, I was like, oh, immediately, like, okay, got it.
I was
and
looking
after that,
away.
everything just on theme. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I was looking away when the DragRace song came on, and I was like, what's wrong with the audio? And I turn and look, and I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing. I see it.
I loved it. I was like, oh, we obsessed. 90 and it's all the way up today. We going back to VHS days. Love it. Here for it. Bring it on.
I thought it was gonna be just that, but then I started like going throughout the whole episode, and I just we'll get into it more, but I'm obsessed. Ugh.
This is what I love. I like when a show takes a theme and they run through it throughout the entirety of its show. Like, this is the theme. This is what we going with all the way through.
Right.
Not half baking it, not saying, okay, this is the thing. We'll do a little bit at the beginning and then we don't talk about it no more. I want the whole thing.
So, it was get ready for a takeover.
Yes.
To every challenge, the mini challenge, the main challenge, the runway, everything.
Everything that they
we'll get into it.
Oh,
Mm.
it's so good. It was so good.
I'm excited.
But they come in and everybody's in 90s wear. Like they're wearing the 90s gear into the thing. And I'm like, yes, they put them in on what this is. And I love that. Then they're sitting at the table, and again, it's some more little back and
Snipping.
forth. The snipping snipes coming.
One thing that I forgot, I looked at my notes and I remember when they did the intro in the end, they show like the name of the episode, the one where they went 90s, like the Friends reference.
Like Friends.
That
It's just a good thing.
the small things. It's the small things.
Yeah, it's the detail. But yeah, they got snipey again. Go.
Yep, this is where Michaela's like, you know what? I'm back. I have survived, and I'm ready to get nasty with this competition. You all cannot beat me. She just has all of the confidence that I wanted to see from her. And then Xana had to get in a little snippy comment, which I actually loved. She was like, unless it's another sewing competition.
And she was like,
and Michaela was not. Like
no.
That was not the moment for her.
She was not having it. Not having it at all.
Sometimes it's too soon to say something. And right after I didn't fail a design challenge, it's too soon to say something.
I was hoping Michaela would have like a nice comeback, but instead she was like, okay, you're pissing me off, girl. And,
I mean,
yeah, I'm sure like if she had like a little bit longer, she would have had a nice jab right back at Xana, but it didn't happen in this moment.
I think sometimes, girl, you pissing me off is enough. It's like, okay, watch your mouth, not too much, bring it down. Like sometimes you got to tell folks, because look here, sometimes we don't know we overstepped in the joke department when we're telling the joke until after the joke is said, and you're like, oh, that was too much. Okay, too soon. Okay, I'm gonna back it up. I'm gonna back it up.
I'm there a lot, honestly.
Step back.
I'm about to say I've been there too. Like too soon. Oh, okay. Let me reel it back. My bad, homie. I didn't mean to upset you like that. But I think when Michaela was like, "Now you pissing me off," and it was like, "Okay, was it? Got it. Duly noted." And she ain't saying nothing else, so I was okay with that.
And then it turns out to Helena versus Xana, like coming for each other's outfits last week and coming for each other's unfinished hems.
Hems and
everywhere you look, there's a hem.
Yep.
It was hems and holes all over the place. Then it was like Helena was like, "Yeah, I know. I created the Cardinal Sin and Design Challenge, but I still ended up at the top." So
this one was more enjoyable because it felt like both of them were playing, even if both of them were getting a little annoyed with each other.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. They seem to know. They get each other. Some people's personalities you got to feel out before you know what's good to work, and some people you just got that instant connection with. But they knew, and it was fun. It was fun to see them go back and forth. But they both gave some jabs and was like, "Ooh, oh, she got you, girl. Ooh, she got you back, girl." It was good. But I was like, Xana, girl, you better piss off everybody.
Xana, don't.
Xana, don't piss everybody off. And even Virgo was like, Xana was like, oh, I'm gonna do it anyway. Even Virgo was like, Xana, you ain't got no friends. She said that later on, but I thought that was hilarious. She was like, yeah, you ain't got no friends here. I was like,
and that's not
wild. And that's not true at all because they all love Xana and everybody said it. They know they love each other. But probably in that moment, girl, you ain't got no friends. You coming with everybody. It's just wild. But they talk, and so Tracy comes in
looking good,
and it's looking
so
fabulous. She looks fabulous. Like I think she's one of my favorite judges. Like yeah, she's one of my favorite permanent judges. Like I love her. She comes in, she's looking fabulous. She's just like giving us all the 90s slang as if, whatever, duh. Like, come on now. I'm living for this. She calls the mini challenge. And so the mini challenge, I was like, ooh, a mini challenge. Love that. Love seeing a good mini challenge happen. And it wasn't a stupid mini challenge, which I also appreciate, where they're going to be models, like on a game show, where they're going to describe a product and tell you how to use it, and they get to go get
90s products.
90s products. where half of
That
these
some
girls
of them did
had
not know
no idea what they
the
were.
first one. The first one, I was shocked that they did not know what it was.
Maybe the first
It
one
I
was
took
was
me a
born
like,
in
second.
95, y'all. 95. So I didn't
it
live a
took you a
lot in the
second.
90s.
Look, I don't
But
exercise. I do
Maybe I
sometimes,
don't
but
either,
not
but
with
I
that.
knew exactly what it was the second I saw it
I
because
mean, we've seen
it
it so yeah.
infomercials with Suzanne Summers and the Thigh Master, baby. If you don't
Mhm.
know what a Thigh Master is,
Yep.
I was like, what?
Iconic. Come on.
It's iconic. But
Yes.
yeah, some of them had no idea. And
Right.
some of them
Yeah.
knew what it was, and then they did the best to do it.
Win This
What was your
Shiznit
standout?
was the name of the
When's-
segment,
yeah.
by the way.
Right. What was
Um,
your standouts?
So I had a pretty overwhelming standout. Well, first of all, I was like, oh, is this going to be judged in like teams? Because everybody was split
The
up into
pairs.
groups of 2. And I thought, okay, we're going to get whoever wins is going to like, they're going to be the team captains for the girl group.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, clearly Uma is so good at this. Like she was so quick and just in charge with everything. But I
Mhm.
did feel like Helena was her partner, and Helena was taking such a background role, which I get it. Like I would probably be the same way if somebody is like overpowering with their personality, then I'm like retreating a little bit. But I was like, how are they going to be a team win? But Uma deserves to win
Right.
because Uma's killing it.
Okay. Yes. Uma did kill it. And here's my thing. If we're thinking technically, like what was technically what they had to do the assignment of the mini challenge? She did the best. Who was the funniest and most entertaining to me was Perla.
Okay,
She
yeah.
made me cackle so hard with the fax machine when she said it's like texting, but that doesn't exist yet. Like, so dumb. It was just the dumbest things, and the way that she would say like just a dry sense of humor that the delivery was so good.
Mhm.
And then when she
It was her and
she
Xana, right?
sat
Yeah.
when she sat on the plastic couch, and she said, "Make sure you don't wear anything pointy on the sofa, or it will be fucked."
Mhm.
She was just it was just she had a great delivery, and she was just so funny.
I
And it's
agree
not
with
just
you.
because she talked about me in her podcast, because I did want to bring that up just in case she's
Yeah,
watching.
why
I
why
love you,
don't you
Perla.
love
I'm
her?
obsessed with you.
Why don't you love her?
Look.
Why
Just
don't you
because
love her?
I'm gonna stand by it. I didn't like her performance of the hot lip sync. That's literally the only thing that I did not like about her this season. Literally the only thing. So, but she was my favorite in the mini challenge, and I'm obsessed with her. So yeah.
Mhm.
Perla absolutely knows that because we told her, and me and
Shout.
Logan literally jumped on her live at the same time with Helena and Tiffany, and in 2 different. I just happened to be doing nothing, and it said Perla's going live, so I jumped on the live just to say hey to Perla. And then Helena and Tiffany were there, so I said hey to them. Then Logan jumped on, and Perla was like, "Oh my God, the cup is here! Lana and Logan are here!" And I was like, "Oh, not this show, period!" And so Tiffany was like, "Lana, Logan, love y'all. The cup, y'all go watch the
Aw.
cup." We got lots of love from
Ugh.
their live. It was so great. So Perla is absolutely stunning and literally knows who we are and knows you are obsessed. Because if you don't know we are obsessed with her on this podcast, I don't even know what
But
podcast
it's
she's
just
watching because we are obsessed.
yeah, it's just because there was the one negative thing that I said, and of course she was gonna bring that up because why
Right.
wouldn't she?
Why
And she
wouldn't
did it in
she?
the
I'm the
best
same
way. I
way.
loved
That's
it. I
all I
loved it.
remember. If somebody has one bad thing to say about me, like
Exactly.
what? This is the only thing they think about me is this one thing.
Like
Right.
we don't know. Discount all the 30 million positive things we said. It's the one negative
Mhm.
thing that sticks out. But it's fine. Perla knows. We love her. But yeah, I agree with you, River. I thought Perla was so funny. My favorite part of that was when she was like, when Xana was talking and she was like, "Oh, hold on, I'm on the phone." It was so
Xana was like,
crazy.
press the
We have to
fax
send this.
button.
You
She
press the
was
fax
so
button.
dumb. She was
She
just
press this
so
button, press
stupid.
this button. She's like, "Hold on, I'm on the phone."
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh, sorry." I love that. I think it was so funny, so stupid, and so dumb. But I do think Uma nailed the assignment. Like she understood it,
Natural.
naturally
Mhm.
nailed it, did extra credit. It was like she just did it, and she deserved the win. I didn't make a single banner for it, but Uma wins the the mini challenge.
Yes.
I'm not even thinking about banners
It's
at that point. But Uma,
December 20th. It's fine. It's
it's
fine.
literally time for break. So but Uma wins the mini challenge, yay! And she
Yeah.
wins $2,500 from shoe. Oh, I forgot what it was called, but from a shoe company,
From
which
Shoe.
They
love
don't
it.
sponsor us, so we don't have to say it. It's
Right,
fine.
we don't have to say they don't sponsor us at all, but she got $2,500, and I'm like, cool, get some new shoes, boo. Work, because those shoes that they showed was looking. Woo.
Do they get Canadian dollars? Is that's all in Canadian dollars? Yes or no?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing
The prize money.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
That's
am
just
guessing.
something that I always wondered and I never asked. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, we do get so Michelle, not Michelle.
Uma wins.
I'm about to jump into Down Under, but Tracy, I'm about to jump right into Down Under. We are not there yet. Tracy Melshore tells them that we are doing a girl group challenge, and you get either the song "Duh" or the song "Not." And so Uma, being the winner of the mini challenge, gets to pick after everybody goes on to pick their teams. And that was a mad dash scramble because Michaela was like, Virgo Queen, come here now.
Mhm.
Like, that was it. They
And
knew
everybody
they
was
were
trying to
going
break
to be
them up.
together. They knew they were going to
No.
be together. And they were like, I don't know
You
what
all
the
can't
rest
be
of y'all gonna
together.
do.
You're too good.
They were like, no, we're not. Y'all figure out how to do this, or you like what y'all gonna do.
See-
Like they looked at him and was like, what y'all doing? Because we not splitting
But
up.
why didn't because they had it was two groups, right? So
Mhm.
it would make sense to me if Uma won the mini challenge, so she gets to pick her group, and then
I mean,
the other people are the other group. Like
Yeah.
that's not always
it's
the
No,
case.
no,
fine.
no.
It's fine.
Chaos is
Just-
better.
Chaos is better.
Look,
It's like
I get
y'all
it. I
go
get
for what
it.
you know. Go for what you know, because
Yeah.
it's been boring for Uma to pick. Then she would have just
Right. She
I
would
want
just would
this
have picked
person this
three
and
best
this
people.
person this and right.
Or they
So
could have done Uma and then like the winner of last week's lip sync.
I'm
like, the
happy
team
with how they
captain.
did it.
I'm
and then
happy
just-
with the way they did it too.
You know,
I like chaos
Yeah,
sometimes.
I
A little
like
bit of
switching it
chaos.
up too. Like it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be the same formula all the time. But yeah.
Right.
sure.
And I also love that Perla eventually was like, wait, those
Oh,
two are stuck together and nobody's jumping.
I'm
Okay.
jumping.
I will join you all, I guess.
Like I guess you forced my hand, I
Yep.
guess, to join you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
and
Xana
but the team
follows.
Xana follows suit. So we ended up with Michaela, Virgo, Perla, and Xana with Jaylene, Uma, Helena, and
Minnie.
Minnie.
Mini.
Yep. It's actually the same pairs from the mini challenge just now in the girl
In
groups.
group form.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did not even put that together, but
I
yay.
just did.
Did not put that together, but sure, that is exactly what happened. But they do that. They go and Uma gets to pick the song. She decides for her group they're going to have Duh, and the other group is going to get Not, because Duh is more of a like, we're best friends. Duh. Yes, we're best friends. That's who we are.
Because of like the
And then-
prompt of the because they didn't listen to the songs, right? It was just
No.
like she picked from the description and then she thought
Right,
it
from
was,
what
like,
Tracy
the-
said. And then
Yeah.
they knew that Not was more of a fiery anthem, attitude.
Attitude.
And so she picked the other team. She's like, y'all got attitude, give y'all Not. So they go off to start their journey of writing Duh and Not. And they listen to the songs. And again, it's the details of it all. Because if they didn't have these girls listening to these in these CD, old
Mhm.
school CD players, what?
Michaela was
love?
Did
probably
you
like,
call
what
it?
is this?
Did you call it Walkmans as well
Discman.
in the US?
A Discmans. Yeah,
Walkman, we
had
had those, but those were cassette tapes.
Yes.
Okay,
Walkmans
it's just
with
because
cassette
here
tapes.
it was the same, but when it transitioned to CDs, we just kept calling it Walkman. We didn't like change what we call it. So I knew it as Walkman, but I love that detail. And then with the proper headphones, like the
Right.
correct, specific,
correct-
very specific headphones.
I love the details.
Okay.
I was like, not a
Love.
Discman. Not a Discman. I had all of it. Did I have a Walkman? Yes. Did I have a Discman? Yes. I had several and I loved it. I probably want another one because I had a whole CD book.
Discman. I had a Discman, but a Walkman, not.
Did
You
you make
didn't have a cassette?
mixtapes?
Oh,
Lana?
I definitely made mixtapes. I was sitting with the radio and just like waiting to catch that song right at the right time, and then hit the record, and then get it before the person started talking at the end. It's I lived for those moments. The top 9 at 9s and the top 8 at 8s. I lived for those moments.
I was obsessed with making mixtapes. Eventually, I moved on to mix CDs. I still make mix CDs. Like
CDs.
all this time later, I have a bunch of blank CDs over there. So it never left.
It never gets old. I feel like if you have you can put it on a computer, you can make a CD. And
Exactly.
I still have my CD collection.
I had all my CDs.
I'm not giving that up, baby.
I didn't want to give mine up. Mine got lost in the move. My CD book got lost because they'll put it in storage, and then our storage we didn't.
The folder, like the little folder with the
yes, my book
with
it was full. I had 2 big books, and I lost them all. But that's okay. That's okay. I will rebuild something because I still love a good CD. But yeah, so they are off writing their songs, trying to get the feel of each song, and they're doing really good. Everybody's digging. They like the songs that they got.
Perla. Perla's like,
Perla's like, I didn't want this one. I wanted duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Perla wanted duh, and I was like, okay, I get it. But they kind of. It was nothing too much happening in that moment except a little back and forth.
Like the end when Perla was pretending to write on the notebook and then playfully said, "Dear team, duh, I hate your stinking guts."
You are the worst.
This episode was my favorite Perla episode for sure. Like she just was a star for me.
And then you had Helena come back. Do we not like you? Yes or yes? Are you going to lose? Yes or yes? Check one. I was like, yes.
And then Uma just starts throwing things.
And then Perla eating the eraser, like
the chaos. I love it.
The chaos of it all was in crazy love. It was just fun. So we do go, and they go to the recordings with the legendary disco queen herself of I'm about to say Canadian, of Canada. And everybody's super excited that they get to record with her. So it's like, oh my God, we're so excited. And she's cool as heck. She's so cool. She was so cool. I was like, I could see why everybody would be excited to record her. She just seemed so chill and cool and was like, all right, let's do it. Up first, we get the knot group going in there. And Xana's up first. And
before we get into what the girls did, the keeping on with the theme, the recording on the stage with the computer, with the old school computer, I lived. And then the guy like doing everything was also like in overalls and like the whole 90s fit.
So good. Look, not that he was really using that old computer because he probably had his little laptop right beside him to actually do the work. But yeah, he played the part. And it was just details.
Just like everything that added up to how great this episode was. It's like
details.
All that.
But they go in there and Xana gets up there and she's like, okay, say your verse, da-da-da. Then it was like, I was like,
no, but Lana, that had rhythm.
It did actually.
I can't help
what you just did had rhythm.
It was almost like she was just talking.
I was like, where
it was like slam poetry, but it
then
had no flow to it.
No flow.
Even as that. I mean,
she's probably thinking, oh, they'll fix it in post production.
Right, they'll fix it in post. No, girl, you got to
a lot of
record
things.
it right.
They can't fix that.
You have to have some kind of tempo, some kind of rhythm. It was a lot. She just had a lot of words and just didn't have the.
Here's the rhythm. Here's
Here's
Xana.
Xana.
Kayla.
I mean, she was open to the feedback from Simone,
Yeah.
so she
Mhm.
was willing
Yes.
to work on it. She was
Yep. It got better.
there was effort. There
I
was
mean,
there was
because
effort. Yeah.
it wasn't, and no, and she wasn't like, I know I'm good. It was just like, I know my flaws. I don't have rhythm, so help me
Mhm.
out, guide me through this, Simone. This is what you're here for. And Simone did that. She helped her. It got better. Was it perfect? We'll
We'll
talk
get
about
into
it.
it.
But
Mm.
it got better even during the rehearsal. She got some sense of flow that worked. But she was struggling a little bit throughout. And I was like, okay, all right, okay, Xana, what's gonna happen? And then after Xana, it was Michaela. And I was like, oh, well, stark difference here was about to happen. And no lie
She
was
was great.
detected because Michaela was great. She
Mhm.
was just great.
Yep.
And I was like, well,
Literally
didn't-
no notes because
no
it was so
notes.
good.
Literally, I didn't say
None.
I didn't write
I
anything
literally
down.
just wrote Michaela was so good. That's
Yep.
it.
It's just like Michaela's Michaela.
Period.
She ate. Period. And then after Michaela was Perla. And here's what I was so surprised. Perla was really good. I
Mhm.
loved when she was like, I'm going to use all my movie references, my
The astrology,
astrology,
movie and astrology. I was
movie and
like, oh,
astrology. I was
okay,
like,
Hmm.
a queen after my own heart. I
You got
mean,
me in half
fine.
of that.
She got me at Perla.
Yep.
When Perla walked up, I was like, I'm sold. But she was good, and I loved that Simone was like, do it in a more Vince Price kind of way. Make it
Yes.
more haunting and more ghouly.
Vince Price.
Vince Price.
Who
Oh,
I have said, like,
The-
because we used to ask the question, like, if you were on Snatch Game, who would you play? And I've always said, like, Vincent Price would be so fun to play for Snatch Game.
I think that would be a very interesting character to
Or
play
Vince
for
Price,
Snatch
as you
Game.
say.
Vince Price. Vince Price. Vince. Look, I know Vince
Mhm.
personally.
You're cool like
So
that.
we chill. So I call him Vince. I know the world calls him Vincent, but yes. But yeah, Vincent Price would be a great Snatch Game character if somebody knows the lore behind
Mhm.
Vincent Price. I think it'll be a perfect Snatch Game
Mhm.
reference. But yeah, when she told Perla to just make it more haunting, make it more, and Perla's like, I'm gonna make it haunting and seductive, and it
Mhm.
works. It was good. Even in that rehearsal, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. I don't know what it's gonna sound like in the end, but this is gonna be good. Yep, this is gonna be good.
The
And then
advice from Simone, not like we're talking about Perla, for Perla was incredible, but just like overall for everyone,
overall,
she ever like when we heard the first time and we heard the second time after her feedback and advice, the like it got better after like that. Like everything got better because of her. So like she did an amazing job.
she was the perfect person to have for this challenge. It
Yeah.
was so good. Then we have Virgo Queen, and
Can
Virgo
you
Queen's
sing?
Virgo's like, I do okay. I sing a little, and everybody was like, oh, stop, girl. She can sing. And so someone was like, oh, she can sing. Okay, well then sing. And
That
y'all,
The
run.
run,
y'all,
the
I
work run.
the run.
Mm,
As a
mm.
music snob that I am, and I love to hear words and songs and chords that just. But when she did that run at the end, I was like, oh, I was like, I had a
Right.
eargasm. I was like, oh my god! And I'm in my room. I'm like, I need to learn that run. I did that over and over and over time because I'm like, I want to hit that low note too. It was so good.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
And she was like, I want to do 6-part harmony with it. I'm like, can she? Can
She
she?
can.
Can we
Please
please have her
can
do
she do it.
that?
I was like,
She
please
went
let her
no,
do
she
6-part
went
harmony.
from can you sing? No to I want to do a 6-part harmony. Like, oh okay.
Baby,
I was like, we have time, right?
we have time to record each part, right? We can do. I was hoping they let her do that 6-part harmony. I would have just melted inside my bed.
They didn't.
Like just they did not let her do that, by the way. So don't look forward to it because I sure was looking forward
Me
to it. And I was
too.
like,
That
we're gonna get the
whole
6-part
performance,
the
I was like,
whole time.
wait, I can't wait.
Where's the
Are we
6-part
gonna
harmony?
hear? Are we gonna hear it?
6-part?
Oh,
Oh, well,
and not
well.
against her, but against
No, it's production. Y'all
it's the guy
ruined
at
it
that
for
computer.
me.
He said my computer can only do one layer. I can't
won't-
overlay.
I can't
The
overlap it.
dial-up is not. Someone's on the phone. I can't.
I can't overlay it. I can't overlay it 6 times. Ugh. Oh, if that's not my childhood, baby, because my mama
Right.
used to hate me. She used to get so mad at me when I used to get online. She was like, "Trying to get on the phone.
Get off of there.
Get off the computer." But I
Good
loved it.
times.
But good times indeed. But yeah, so they do their part. Then up next here comes our Duh girls. And this was a very different from the not girls rehearsal time. Not in a bad way, just different. Just different. So we get, I think who goes first? Helena? Oh, Jaylene.
It was Jaylene.
Jaylene?
Jaylene goes first. And Jaylene is like, I sing a little bit. I do a little bit. I'm like, okay, all right. It was very subdued to me.
She kind of
like,
talked it at first.
yeah. Yeah. And Simone was like, I want you to sing it a little bit more. And she was like, oh, okay, well, I'll sing.
I like the
felt
back
like
and forth. Like she would sing it and then Jaylene would copy. I thought that was cute.
And it
I was
got, again, a lot better. Like,
yeah.
it got the
worked.
job done.
It
Mhm.
worked. Mhm.
It was really good. I enjoyed it. I was like, okay. And like you said, every time Simone would give a suggestion, everything would just change and the dynamic would get better and better. I was like, okay. She eventually, I thought even from the rehearsal, I don't know about y'all, if y'all agree with me or not, but from the rehearsal, I was like, I like Jaylene's verse, but I'm not in love with Jaylene's from what we hear in the rehearsal. And I was like, I hope it's more that I could fall in love with her verse at the finished product. But right now, I'm just not in love with it. But we'll see what happens. It's like, okay, we'll just see. It's still rehearsal. They cut so much, we don't really know what it's going to sound like. But I wasn't in love with it at the beginning. And I think the only three people's verses that I fell in, 4 people's verses that I fell in love with in the rehearsal was Michaela's and Perla's and Virgo's and Helena's, because I really liked Helena's verse. When she got up there,
The lyrics.
she gave the lyrics. She gave us everything 90s. Butterfly
reference.
clips and
Not
slushies
afraid to
at the
reference
mall.
or not reference. Everything.
Right. Everything. Those slushies at the mall, the just every the yin and yang mood rings. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
the mood rings,
Mhm.
girl. Like
The
everything.
butterfly
I loved it.
clips.
Loved it. Everything. She
Mhm.
just referenced it all. I enjoyed her verse even at the rehearsal. I was like, I hope it sounds as good as I'm making it sound in my head. Because in my head, I'm like, this is so good. I hope when it's finished, it sounds just as good. We'll talk about that though, if it did.
Mhm.
But Helena was go ahead, David.
No, that's all I had on Helena. I just really liked all of the references, but also I was like, do you remember all of these? Because I think she's 33, so she was like alive and aware for part of the 90s, but I was like, you were still pretty young, girl.
Right. Look, once they got the brief, I'm sure some people did some research.
Mm.
I would, if I didn't know nothing about it, I would do a little research.
Yeah.
And then Uma.
Yeah. See, but about that, I don't know what it's like in Canada. Like me, I was born in 95, right?
Mhm.
So like I remember things from like I lived the 90s a little bit, but I don't remember it.
Right.
Right.
That's how I am with the 80s. Like I don't really remember.
I do remember since like 2000 from that
Mhm.
on. But here in Brazil, a lot of the things that were trends in the US in the like late 90s were trends here up until like 2003, 4, 5.
Mm.
Mhm,
Like the
mhm,
butterfly clips was something from my childhood that I remember because it
mhm.
like before the huge like globalization, it got here, the trends got here later. And so I still got a lot of the trends and things from the 90s here because of that. So just in context, because I don't know if maybe in Canada it's something similar, but because it's closer, I would guess not. But I don't know.
There was
Maybe the
like
90s
Lisa Frank
culture
just
there
got
is a
here.
little bit different. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get that because, like, I remember a lot of the 80s, but like the late 80s, because the early 80s, I was still a baby. So I don't remember the early 80s. But by the time I was a teenager and taking in references and knowing references and like, this is what I like, developing my own style and what I really like, it was the 90s. It was very much 90s R&B, 90s hip hop, 90s pop, 90s the gear, the clothes, the grunge. Like I remember grunge and all of that stuff, and like seeing older kids wearing grunge stuff, and like, why are y'all looking like that? But sure, get it, emo, all that stuff. And so it was, yeah, 90s was where I started to like know myself. And it was like, yep, this is my decade. This is where I stand. 90s and early 2000s. That's did it for the 99 and the 2000s. That's where I lived. It was just like, yep. So I love this. I love all of this.
Because the last person was Uma, right? I just
And
to circle
Minnie.
back. Oh, and Minnie.
And
Oh,
Minnie,
right. Just because I didn't take notes on Minnie because she was good.
Minnie was fine.
But Uma,
I
Minnie was
wouldn't
good.
say good, but she was.
She
all
sounded
right.
good.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
She wasn't a singer, but she sounded good. But Uma,
She wasn't what? Wait, River. She wasn't what? She wasn't what?
I'm not-
She wasn't what, River? She wasn't a singer.
But Uma's approach to the challenge I loved, because she was like, okay, this is the challenge, this is the brief, how can I make this brief work for me and for what I do? And then she did that, and I personally enjoyed it. She went more camp and more like theater-ish with the verse and the vocals, and I really like that. She was kind of already in the recording. You could tell that she was already thinking about how she was going to perform that on the stage while she was recording it. So I really appreciated her approach.
Yeah, everybody was already cracking up during the recording, so I'm like, well, it's probably going to bode well for the actual performance.
Yeah, she gave us very much of a storyteller like vibe instead of singing. She was like, "I'm just gonna tell you the story about what happened to me, and this is fun." And in college, this is my life in college, and it was fun to listen to. I was cracking up with her, and like she said, you just see Simone laughing, and the girls laughing. She knew she did it right, and so I was like, "Period, Uma." And then Minnie, like you said, River, she wasn't a singer, but Simone liked her smile and her energy.
Yeah. And what I liked is with her verse, I just got so much of that 90s cheese. Like it was just oozing out. I was like, Minnie would have fit in really well with the like final song they recorded in Drag Race UK this year, where it was supposed to be like a cheesy ballad, because that's just what she was delivering, and you could tell it was intentional. So I was like, oh, there's some promise behind this one too. Going into the recording, I was like, yeah, Team Knot has got this locked up based on who was in there. But after the recording, I'm like, you know what? I think it's actually a lot more balanced. Like I felt like there were 3 people who had varying levels of strong verses, and then one person that was slightly struggling for each team.
I think so too. I think I went in the same way. I was like, Team Not got this, period. If they went in, it is what it is. But then I was like, oh, but Team Duh, they can come out of nowhere. They
were working smart.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of them did. They were like, we're clever. We might not be the best dancers in the group, but we are clever. So let's see what we can do. But then we do talk about dance because they go into choreography rehearsal.
Yeah. Should we talk about the choreography?
Choreography. Yeah. So the choreography is.
Let's talk about the dancing.
Let's talk about the dance.
The dance moves.
I was like, oh, Xana, choreography is
See,
a hard
words
word to
are
say.
hard sometimes.
Hard words are
I get
hard.
it.
Choreography is
Like
a hard
Canada,
word to say.
like
Yeah,
Canada, Lana.
yeah, Canada. I was about to say Canada. Words are hard these days. So
They are.
yeah, work. Um, but yeah, the choreography they went into there to do that. Team Not didn't surprise me. They just knew what they were doing. It was funny because they said, Virgo Queen, you are the one who's going to lead us and choreograph this dance for us. Yep, Virgo Queen's gonna do it. And she starts doing it, and then Xana was like, okay, so we should do this. Should
was
we move
Perla,
here? And
actually.
then Perla
Oh,
too. I was gonna get because Xana said first. So how do we move? And then Perla, I think we should do, and we should do, and we should do. And Virgo Queen was like, so are you a listener or following? Because what's your role here? Because you said first of all, you need to remember what
You
you
got to
said.
remember what you said.
Because you said I was the choreographer here and you should listen, put your listening ears on and follow me. She's like, but I'm not going to listen to people, especially the people who don't know what they're doing. So,
But even Perla, like, she was talking, suggesting stuff, and then she even stopped herself and was like, you know what? Don't listen to me. She knew. She knew.
Yeah, that's fair. But I also like if I'm in this competition for $100,000, like yes, I will trust a leader, but if I have input, I will want to say it. Like you don't have to take my suggestion, but like
but if
this
you don't
still
know
is a
what you're
team.
doing,
Okay,
but if
For
you're
you,
not a
I think it's
choreographer,
more,
here's the
it's more
thing:
about the
if you're not
time.
if you're not a dancer, why are you trying to put input?
Because you can still suggest things and be like, here, how can you interpret this idea in a successful choreography way?
That is why
You
people
know?
get upset with you, David, because you always want to. I want to give my input. No, I'm just not always. I'm just kidding. But
Okay. I was like, this
no,
is news to me.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just
People get
kidding.
mad at
No,
me.
no, who gets mad at David? Nobody.
I do
No,
give a lot of
but
input.
no. I think in situations, and I understand your point. I do understand because when you're in a situation where money is on the line and you're in for a competition and you want to give input, but my also thing is, if I say I'm trusting you to be the choreographer,
Mhm.
this is the job I'm trusting you to do, and I don't know jack spit about dance. I just know what I have an idea
But that's
about
not
dance.
true of any of these girls. All of them
Girl,
can dance. We've seen them all dance. So they do know stuff about it. They might not know the technical terms and all that,
Well, I
but they
can
know about
make
dance.
pasta, but I'm not a chef.
and so I'm not gonna go to the chef and say, "Here's my suggestion on how to
Mhm.
make this pasta better."
Right.
I'm just
I
saying, because you're a leader, that doesn't mean you're a dictator. That means that you
I
are in
understand what you're
charge, but
saying,
you
David,
still can
but
take input from other people.
can I be the middleman,
Mhm.
woman,
please.
person between the two of you? Because you're both right. But what I think is, with the time that they have to put this
Mm-hmm.
together, the less suggestions
Mm-hmm.
and things that you change and the less the person that's choreographing needs to think and change things, the better it's going to be for the whole group. So I do think
Mm-hmm.
that if it's like a huge production and there's like, you're both correct, but with the time there's no time to
I
for
mean, they're
everyone
making
to
it
give
up on the
suggestions,
go,
you know what I mean?
right? It's not like they
Yeah.
already had choreography planned. They were making it up as they went along.
No,
They
but
have, but they probably maybe had an hour or two to put stuff together, right? We don't know how much time they
Yeah,
have,
we don't know at all.
but
yeah.
and if we're doing that as the choreographer,
Just shut
and
up
you're
and
trying.
listen.
Right, because you don't really have the time to be like, oh, okay, now I have to figure out your suggestion and figure out how to make that work. And we only have this amount of time because now I have to think about choreography that I was going to do. And then now I have to take in what you're suggesting and figure out how to make that work in the choreography that I already
Exactly.
had planned for us to do. So that's just taking up more time. So it's a time and a place for everything. And it's a time, like if this was months, and y'all had so many like days
Or
and
if they
weeks and
had,
months
even if they had like 5 days.
5 days. Like I said, if you had
Oh,
time to do it, then yes, please input your
I can't.
input. But
I
when you
can't
have
think
an
of
hour
a
or
time
30
where
minutes,
I can't think of a time where I've seen choreography where it's just one person saying this is exactly what everybody's doing
you
and
have not
nobody else
seen
has a word.
choreography.
But
On Drag Race, I have.
I don't think Virgo was upset because people made a suggestion once. Because I don't think if people made a
No.
suggestion once,
Once?
she would be complaining. She probably said that because it happened multiple times and it was
Maybe.
getting in the way of her being able to choreograph everything for the
Mhm.
whole group, which she, if it
Absolutely.
failed, it would be her responsibility. So I also understand her side. But yeah, but we don't have more time to talk about that because we're on a
Because
time crunch.
we on a time crunch. So we have to move it along.
There's no
So
time
more,
for suggestions, David.
no
I'm
more
so sorry.
suggestions. No more suggestions. No. But no, we do, because they do their choreography and it was great. They figure out what they go do, and then the next group, the Doug group, comes up, and Uma is in charge of really coming up with this choreography, and she does a lot of partner work. We see it was like everything is like, okay, we're together. We're gonna do our hand things. We're gonna do some hand jobs and some tweelies and all that stuff. That's what we used to call it when we did that whole thing. But it was a lot of partner work. And so Helena was a little concerned because she's like, I have to make sure that Jaylene is okay. And which I love, because she was like, we're going to make sure that Jaylene gets all the car. And Jaylene's like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. It might take me a minute, but I'm gonna get it. And Helena's like, we'll work on it. If you go one way, I'll go the opposite way. We'll figure it out as we go. We just gonna make it look good. And I appreciated that from Helena. I appreciated that from the whole team, that they were like, we are a team. We're gonna work together. We're gonna make sure all of us looks good on this stage. And that's what a team is supposed to do. But if you have a weaker link, you try to strengthen that link instead of just casting them aside. So they worked on it. They got it. It was good. It was
They worked it out.
They worked it out. From what we saw, it was fine. It was good. But then we go back to the workroom. It's elimination day, and everybody's putting on their makeup, and we had some really good Emmy moments happening. Some very deep moments, some very disturbing moments. I would say I was just like, wow. We talked about the queens who are sober this season, and it's more than one queen. It was four queens,
Mhm.
four queens who are sober for all different reasons of why they became sober. Jaylene started the conversation saying she was sober for 20 something years,
25 years.
20 plus years. And she was sober because she used to be, she was like, I was a street person. I was out there running the streets, and I was doing what you did in the streets. And then I realized that the streets were taking me down, literally. Like, she was like, it was a point where I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who this person was. And so I had to take the realization that I needed to get off of these drugs, get off of this alcohol. It wasn't doing me a service. And now being sober and working in clubs, she's like, it's an interesting, enlightening place to be, because you see so many people, but you can also be able to feel, you can be more aware of the people around. And she was like, it's just an interesting place to be, being sober and working in the club. When then Perla, she was like, mine was like, no, Xana was like, she sobered up because she got scared straight to do it. And I was like, oh, wow. All these,
someone put something in her drink.
right.
And
she was
hopefully, happily, nothing happened.
yes,
But it was enough to make her scared to,
straight.
get
As she said,
involved.
I was scared straight and decided no more alcohol in my life. And if you can do that, I'm like, props to you, because some people cannot do that and just say no more and it's just be done. But she was able to do that. And then Perla's story was, she didn't like herself. She looked in the mirror, didn't like who she was after drinking so much and being so heavily drunk, and waking up the next morning not knowing anything. And she's like, I didn't like who I was. And I knew I had to change because I hit the bottom. You hit rock bottom and you have to change. And I was just like, this is wow. Wow. Very, very deep. Very,
Mhm.
very deep of for them to just be so open and vulnerable. To then shift to Michaela's story that she was just like, I had somebody put something in my drink, take me to the back, sexually assault me, and then the queen who was over everything blamed me and said it was my fault that this happened to me. And I was just like, wait,
Oh,
ugh. First of all, disgusting that you victim blame anybody for being SA'd, and that is not their fault. But my heart just went out to her. I was just like, ugh, I don't like that. I hate that. And the fact that she believed it for a while and believed that it was her fault, it's never your fault. As being SA'd is never your fault. Somebody is sick enough to do that to you. It is not your fault. That is them. That is their fault. And I want everybody to know that that is not your fault. And you can speak out on it if you want to, but please, please, please don't believe it's your fault. You are not at fault for any of that. That is somebody else's sick delusion mind that they felt it was okay to touch you and not have consent. That just it bothered me so much. I don't know if y'all want to talk about it, but
Uh, yeah, I didn't have anything specifically on Michaela's situation. I mean, other than like, yeah, I found that repulsive, and I wish she would put out there who was the queen that did that, because that's not cool at all. But just hearing that so many of these queens, Helena is the other one that is also sober. We didn't really get her story, but as somebody who does not drink myself, it really made me feel even more connected with these queens. I think I'm in a weird position though, because I don't drink, but like sober is not the best term for me, because I've never drank, I've never done any drugs, and it's like this weird alienating thing, because people who do drink or do drugs, they don't understand me, and then the people who are in the sober community, like they are like, you're not exactly the same, your situation is not like ours, which is
no.
true, but I just,
yeah.
like, the people that I relate with the most, they can't relate to me. And so it's just
But
like,
that's
where do I
okay.
belong, where do I fit in? Because
You live a clean. You're in the clean living
and there's
group.
not many of us, like I
It's
can't,
not.
I
It's not a
don't know
lot,
it,
but yeah.
like honestly, I don't think I know a single person who's
I
like
know
me.
a few. I know people like you. I
My
know a lot of.
favorite Brazilian drag queen, fun fact, is also like you. She has never drank or done drugs.
Really?
One of my
Yes.
favorite wrestlers is like you, CM Punk. He is very much a clean living person. He never does
Hmm.
drugs, never drinks. So
Yeah.
it is definitely people out there who have clean lifestyle, and that's yeah. It's a
But
Hmm.
it's a it's a
also
group.
as a sober person, I mean, I'll get into my story, but my the way that I use the term is just specific to my situation. Um, but it's okay that you relate to people that are sober because of whatever reason, but that used to be users, even if you were never one. That's okay. And it's
Hmm.
okay that we don't relate to you, but like that's fine. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because maybe we can relate to in some things, but not all, because
Right.
they are very, very different experiences. But there are similarities in those experiences that we can, in both sides, share and learn from. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I agree.
But yeah, with about Michaela's situation, I truly have nothing more to say than just my solidarity to her and my sincere fuck you to whoever did that. Um, and then Jaylene, Perla, Jaylene bringing up the sobriety was, I already started kind of crying then. But then with Perla, it just, the way that she described her journey to sobriety, like her path to sobriety, um, I just was bawling because it's the one that I related to the most. The not being able to look at yourself in the mirror and not just hate what you see and be so ashamed of like what you're doing and who you've become and all that. And then she got into the how hard it is to forgive, like after you decide, it's already hard enough to decide to become sober, and then after you do become sober, you have to go back and look at everything that you've done, and you need to start the process of forgiving yourself, and that is so hard. um I am very fortunate that I had a lot of help from my family. I was institutionalized, so that was awful, but it did help, you know what I mean, it did make me stop. So but for me, it's my experience is different from other people because I do harm reduction. Uh, I don't do any hard drugs or drink alcohol, but I do smoke weed. Because I have um a few psychological problems, and I don't take any medicine for it. Like I don't take any pills for anything. And so the only thing that helps me navigate the world is weed, and I do that, and it works for me. But I still use the word sober for alcohol. um and it's just what Jaylene said about like now being able to look from the outside, like when I go to places where people are drinking and are drunk, it is so weird. And I think to myself, I always in my head I look at people and I'm like, oh my god, was I like that? Did I do that? Did I act like that? Like, and it makes me sad. I know that not everyone that drinks is an alcoholic and is going through something, but like a lot of people that drink are in that situation. So it is just very sad. I don't go to clubs mostly because of that, because when I see people drinking and all of that, it's just it's depressing. Because I remember why I drank. So I know that not everyone is drinking for the same reason I was, but I also know that a lot of people are. You know what I mean? And we can tell. If you're sober, you can tell when a person that is using a substance is using it to numb themselves or to have fun. It's very, um, it's much more clear. And so it's hard. I can't imagine having to work in that environment. I commend Jaylene for that, because I honestly I could never do it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It was
the
a
last thing I want to say is sorry. The last thing I want to say on the subject is I really appreciated Jaylene talking to Perla and reminding her alcoholism is a disease. You have
Mhm.
to learn to forgive yourself. You're one of the most kind people I've met in this room or in general. And I just really feel like Jaylene's presence has been so important and necessary this season because we keep seeing conversations like this, and everybody needs a Jaylene in their life, really. And like, I'm sure all of these queens are just so grateful for the time they had with her.
Absolutely. I think Jaylene is so. I said it when she started. I was like, man, Jaylene has a story for everything. She has a story for every week. Jaylene has something, and I was like, I would just sit and listen to her talk for hours and hours on end because it comes with so much wisdom and knowledge, and I would just listen to her speak for a long
I hope
time.
she
It
writes a
was
book
I
eventually.
that would be amazing. She has a lot of
I want the biopic.
stories. Period. I
Period.
yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it was such a good vibe. Well, good moment that needed to be talked about on
Mm-hmm.
television, and I was so glad that they did that and was able to get their stories out there. And I hope the
And it
person
ended
who
with everyone like supporting Michaela. So that was also a great way
absolutely
to
because
close.
whoever did that to Michaela, I hope you feel extra crappy seeing it that your story is now on TV. Even though we don't know who you know who you are. But after that, we just go right to this amazing 90s runway. So, yeah, let bring you up to the stage. Period. Look at this amazing group of people in their 90s inspired gear, clothing. What do we think about this panel, y'all?
Like it, but it's not. It's just coming from just watching Thailand. It's just like it's a little, you know what I mean? Like the contrast is very big, but they all look really good.
See, I really like what Tracy's wearing. I think it's really unique.
Yeah.
I think this is one of my favorite things I've seen her wearing. And I really like Brooke's look too. It's simple, but it has the whole 90s vibe to it. So I appreciate it. And Simone looks great too.
Absolutely. I think I like this look from everybody. I think everybody has their own stamp in their 90s wear. Tracy's outfit is outrageously good. Outrageously good. I want the dress. It won't look the same on me, but I want it. And because the sleeves alone gives me everything. I like Brooke's take on this. I think it's very like fashion 90s in a, with a little twist. I like it. Brad, definitely overalls. Duh. You can't go no wrong with overalls and no shirt. That's just what you do back in the 90s. And the backwards cap, yeah. And Simone, period. It's just like, let's get into the groups, the does and the not. Let's start with the does, since they're up top here.
We kind of already discussed a little bit when we were talking about the recording. So I'll go through the groups a little more briefly. But for team duh, I think Jaylene sounded great. The lyrics were good, but just her physical performance was just not there. I don't think she needs to be like but choreography, but I didn't feel stage presence from her, and I know she has that. So I don't know if maybe she was having maybe something happened. I don't know, but I was watching everyone else but her during her part, unfortunately. Um, and then Helena also sounded good. I think her lyrics were my favorite from this group, but it was very fun to watch her. But it was very noticeable that she was in her head and couldn't give 100% because she was worried about other things and other people. So that's unfortunate, but I still think she did good. Minnie sounded really good as well. Her lyrics were, I don't really, they were fine. They're not bad, but like nothing, nothing much. But she had a lot of fun energy on stage, so I enjoyed it. And then Uma was definitely my favorite from this group. She looked so stupid. She was so campy. The lyrics were great. The way that she delivered them were great. And she was in character the whole time. Like when it wasn't her solo, she was still in character. She was always doing something. And so she was the standout for me from this group.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I did rank all 8 of them based on how much I enjoyed them in this. Just because that's how my brain works. I like to rank things. But first, Jaylene, I did think her verse was good. But I felt like the choreography that she had specifically was a little bit simple, and she was a little behind sometimes. Even some of the actual like lip syncing part, it seemed like she was missing it. You can tell this is not something she does regularly. She's not in girl groups regularly. She's more of an impression queen, and we love her for that. So unfortunately, I did have her at number 8 out of the whole group. And then we had Helena. I actually thought her verse was really cute. It paid off well. Her lyrics were some of the best of the night. And I thought she had good energy. Of course, there were the parts where we saw her messing up, but I'm like, was that really her messing up, or was it Jaylene messing up? I got the impression it was more Jaylene, but I still liked what Helena did. Helena was my second favorite in this group, but overall, she was number 5 for me. Then we had Minnie. I got the cheese I wanted, and I thought she was very good with her verse. I think she kind of faded a bit throughout the whole performance, more than anybody else, for better or for worse. But so that for that reason, she was actually number 6 for me. And then Uma Yeah, Uma was the best in this group. Like her verse was funny. Like River said, she kept finding ways to draw attention back to her, not in a distracting way. Like there would be other people like doing their lines, and she would still be talking on the phone. And I was like, this is just so cute, so funny. So overall, Uma was number 4 for me.
Yeah, that I agree with everything y'all said. I honestly don't need to go through. I think that order that y'all had them ranked in just this group, I would have that with Uma, then Helena, then Minnie, then Jaylene. It was just really good to me. I thought Uma was incredible. She just stole the show in the best way possible, and it wasn't annoyingly still in the show. It was just naturally still in the show. It was just her doing what she does. I think for me, Jaylene, as I feel like she was very in her own head. I agree. Her verse is great. Verse is good. I mean, it was good. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just I think she was just trying to figure out choreography, and it wasn't clicking as fast as she would like it to, and she would like maybe catch it a second or two after it was supposed to happen. Like, oh, okay, I was supposed to do this. Oh yeah, I was supposed to go and do this, and it was just like, it just felt like she was a little lost, but it wasn't a horrible performance. It's just a little behind, a little lost. And Helena, of course, trying to make sure Jaylene was on time, messed her up in the process. So it kind of was just like the domino effect of it all. Minnie looked better because she was with Uma, who knew what to do, and so she knew what to do, and it was just the cause and effect, the domino effect of what was happening in that moment. I don't. I think this group was good. I think they did a really good job. It it wasn't as good as the not group. What we'll talk about, but
See, we'll get into the second group, but I'm gonna have to disagree with that because I here's the thing: the group choreo for the first group was more cohesive. The second group, to me, in the group parts, it seemed like they were each doing their own thing. It was very confusing to me, but they were both great. Both groups were great, but if we talk about the group overall, I enjoyed the uh duh more. But not by much. They were very close to each other, but like just a little. As a group, it clicked better for me. But let's get into duh or not duh, not.
yeah, let's get a not because you just
Not.
dropped a bomb and statement right now. Okay, but go ahead.
And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you
Period.
why. I feel like individually, the girls in this group did better, but in the group performance, it felt off to me for some reason. Not bad by any means. It just seemed like they were each doing their own thing, and it was a little bit confusing. Mostly by the end. Um, and a little bit in the chorus choreo. Those are two hard words to say back to back. But Xana, let's talk about them individually. Xana had confusing lyrics. The words, I didn't really understand what she was trying to say with her lyrics. The flow and rhythm was better than what we saw in rehearsal, but was still clockably not not on time. Not the timing was not there. But the performance was good, right? She did a good performance and she looked great. And she had a lot of confidence on the stage as well, I think. Michaela sounded really good. I really enjoyed her lyrics as well. The flow was perfect. The timing was there. And she had great choreography in her solo, but look, it's a double-edged sword because the choreography and the moves were great, but we barely got to see her face during her solo. So like that was I still enjoyed it. It was just I wish she would have done the choreo in a way that we could see her face a little bit more. That's all. But during the rest of the performance, when we could see her face, she had the words, she had the uh the emotional connection, the attitude in the face. So she did great. Perla had really good lyrics. it sounded great. I think she had like the coolest sounding verse. Um, and I really enjoyed what she did in the performance. Um, and she because she did like really unique choices, so she stood out to me. And then Virgo sounded so good, incredibly good. She had my favorite look from this group. Um, and I liked her solo, but it just maybe my expectations, maybe it's my fault and I had some expectations that were not met. But that doesn't mean that she didn't do good because it was still good. It's just maybe I was expecting something different. I don't know. But yeah, just by the end, I don't know if y'all feel the same way. I want to know, but like especially by the end, the group choreo was very confusing and it kind of seemed like they didn't know what they were doing. But I'm sure they did. It's just I don't know. What do you think?
Well, for me, I didn't notice that. I thought the group
Okay.
choreography looked good. So I never got distracted by that, but I don't know. I think I was more tuned into how they were doing individually, so I wasn't focused on that.
Okay.
With that said, I might have some rankings that would surprise people here. I don't know, maybe some hot takes. But so first up, we had Xana. Um, I thought her verse was decent. But for me, like I would have liked it on mute. But the problem is, at least based on how it was edited, I don't know if that's how it actually was, but it looked like she was not matching up with the lip sync part, like almost the entire verse. So I was a little confused by that. And I really hope that wasn't like the edit trying to sabotage her and make her look worse than she was. But for that reason, I did have her number 7. She had great energy though. So I'll give her that. But then moving beyond that, as if you kept track of my rankings, I do have my top 3 as the other 3 people here. But Michaela was up. I really liked her verse. I thought she had a good rap. Like she's one of the stronger rappers in this entire group. Um, Great performance, great energy. I don't know that there was a lot about her specific lyrics that really like stuck in my mind afterwards. And for that reason, I actually had Michaela as number 3, a very strong number 3. And then we had Perla, um, and she's doing this homage to Nightmare on Elm Street, which, as somebody who really likes horror films, I was living for it. Like the actual lyrics of hers was my favorite overall, just because it spoke to me. Even like with her sleeves, it kind of reminds me of like the scene Nightmare on Elm Street where Freddy like his arms extend out. So I like that attention to detail. I was slightly confused because this is 90s girl groups and like this is such an 80s franchise. Like the first 4 films are all in the 80s. I'm not mad, but you could have gone with Scream Girl. But that's okay. I still loved what she did, and she was overall for me number 2. uh, Number 1, that leaves Virgo. I really loved what Virgo did. I loved the flow, the rhythm, the singing. It was so good. And she was the person that I could not keep my eyes off of in both groups, largely to do with what she was wearing. She looked so
Mhm.
freaking good in this
The
look. The
boots,
boots,
the
the
boots and the
gloves,
gloves. Oh,
the wig. I love this wig.
this
So
hair.
Bantu knots?
mhm, I think I've
Mm.
been a little hard on Virgo this
Yeah,
season.
a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, I've still respected everything she's done. This is where she really arrived for me. This was my
Mm,
number 1.
mm. I would agree with you, David. I think I, I don't. That wasn't such a hot take for me because
Okay.
I agree with you on that. I think Virgo 100% was the best in this group overall. Like everything about it, her flow, her style, the way she performed it, she was a pop star on that stage and she was
Mhm.
giving us 90s pop girl and she did it. Like the bantu knots, the boots, the gloves, just everything, the way she performed it, it was flawless. It was flawless.
I want to say, like, in a year or two, it would not surprise me if we see people lip syncing for their life to her songs on this show.
I,
Because she's a recording
I
artist.
can see
I
it.
would, I could
I
see
can
it.
see it.
I wouldn't put it
And I
past
would like to
anything.
see it.
I
Mhm.
would probably put Perla at number 2 as well because I think as far as her verse and how she performed it, it was really good. I do agree with you. I wish she would have went more 90s instead of 80s. I get why she did for Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy and everything, but that's clearly, like you said, the first 3 was in the 80s,
First
and it was
four.
like first 4 was in the 80s. So it's like
I think there's only one in the 90s, honestly.
yeah. I'm about to say Freddy was very much my
Well, maybe she
childhood.
watched it in the 90s, so
She
that's
watched it in
Maybe.
the 90s, but it was a 80s, very much an 80s franchise. But I
yeah.
liked what she did with it, but I also was a little confused about not the lyrics itself, but it was some of the references. I was like, okay, maybe I just don't get it, and that's fine. Everybody's not supposed to go get everything, but I thought the way she performed it was really, really well, really, really good, and I enjoyed it very, very much. Michaela, I thought her verse was the way she performed it, everything about it, the flow, the style, the rhythm, the tempo, everything was good. It was her choreography. I agree with you, River. She covered her face so much. And I think that's just a lack of knowing the blocking and where the cameras
The camera.
are and where she has to learn to find the camera when she's doing her choreography, because I've noticed that even when she is lip syncing, like doing the lip sync, the lip sync Veruza, whatever they had, the slay off, her lip syncs were great, but she was turning away from the camera a lot, and it was a lot of hair flipping and down, and the camera's here and she's down here, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I need you to give the camera some eye contact so the audience feels you like you're grabbing their souls when you're doing this. And so I think that's just something she's going to have to learn, and learn where her camera is, and learn what angles she has to move to choreograph. But everything else, she looks great. She sounded great. Everything else is great. I just wish she grabbed my attention at the during the lip sync, and looked into the camera. But for me, I understand why you thought Team Doe was better. For me, Team Not was better for me. I enjoyed their performance a little bit more. Um, I agree with David. I didn't see the disjointness of the choreo. I felt like everybody had their role and they did it. Xana was, look, she know her strength ain't rhythm, and she was like a little bit ahead of everything, a little bit behind everything. It was just like, but she gave it a great effort and she looked amazing while she did it, because I love this look that she's wearing right now. Amazing. But that's just
Before we
me.
move, could I give my rankings? Because I like to
Oh,
talk about them all, and then I'll do, because I did like Team Dub better, but just like I said, just by a little bit, because nobody did bad, and both groups did good overall.
mm-hmm,
But for me, just about the performance, my favorite was Uma,
mm-hmm.
then Michaela and Perla, so that would be my top. Followed by Virgo and Helena, which would be safe, and then Minnie, Santa, and Jenny.
Okay.
I think we
But
all would
then we
have the
have the
same bottom
runways, and
three.
then a lot of things change, but we'll get into
Fair.
that.
Yeah, I think the runway
But
changes a
just
lot for
just
me.
performance, yeah.
Yeah,
The
performance,
runway
that
changed a
would be
lot.
the
See, it
runway
didn't change
changes
for
a
me.
lot. Oh, the runway
Mhm.
changed a lot for me, but
Yeah, my two
yeah,
favorite runways were already in the top.
Okay.
yeah, mine too. Mine too. My two favorite runways was at the top, but my top 3 were at the top anyway. So that's just
Mhm.
how it would have been anyway.
Right.
But
Oh,
that.
and I can confirm there were 2 Nightmare on
Mhm,
Elm Street films in the 90s. So
per.
I stand corrected. There wasn't just one.
It, per. But of course, we're going to come back and talk about all the look over here, because that's what we do. But we will talk about the judges' critiques. We found out that Minnie and Uma are safe, so they are free to go to the back. They are safe, and they ran on up off that stage quickly. They were like, "Thank you, bye."
Mhm.
They and then we they gave out all the critiques. Now I want to know from y'all. I was a little confused on some of the critiques because I thought the way it was going, I felt like certain people, like some of them, I knew. Okay, this is a top. The way they talking about it, this is definitely a top. She did. They love like they loved it, but it was some people who they were giving critiques to. I would say Helena for me, like they gave her the critique, like they liked it, and she was fine, like she was okay, but it wasn't like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't super super great. It was just in the middle. It was
Yeah, I think it's a question of just splitting hairs because I feel like maybe the judges had the same opinion that I did. That is like everyone did okay or great, like nobody did bad or nobody was terrible. So I feel like maybe that's why, and they had to focus on the small mistakes.
mhm,
Maybe that's why.
maybe.
Yeah, I feel like Helena was the one person that shouldn't have been out there because I agreed with the tops. I agreed with most of the bottoms,
Yes.
but it really felt like I don't think you all are judging her fair in this moment. I do think, and I love her. I love Minnie, but I do think
Yes.
Minnie should have been out there instead of Helena personally. But yeah, I agree. It was a little off. But even like with Perla, like
Yeah.
she got high praises, but Brooke is like, your makeup girl.
Your makeup girl.
But I
What you
can kind
wanna
of see it.
do?
I kind of see it. Like she does look pretty pale.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me though. Like
Mhm.
I think that's a personal preference thing. Like there's nothing about her makeup that I'm like, oh no, I need more color. But it is pale.
It's very pale. And I mean, not that she has to do it. I don't think anybody should have to change their makeup if they don't want to. But I would love to see what it looks like in more color just so I could be like, no, I'm going back to the pale girl. I like the pale more than I like the color. Or she put the color on. I'm like, okay, I do like the color a little bit more. I feel like if I see it, I'll be able to say, nah, you find the way you are, or yeah, it does work. But until she do it, I guess we will
I think
never
maybe
know.
she doesn't want to try something new,
Not
like
on the
during the
show,
competition. Yeah,
right?
in case it becomes like a Derek Barry eyebrow kind of thing. Oh, exactly. You're muted, David, but exactly,
Yes.
very that. We
I don't know who
we
Wait,
don't
that
need a
is,
you
but
repeat
didn't hear
of
me say
that. We
Derek
don't
Barry?
need.
I don't know who that
Okay.
is. But I guess y'all
I'll
somebody
show
made the
you a
mistake of
picture
saying,
later
Yes.
of what I'm referencing, and you will
That's
okay,
funny. We both thought
But
that.
yeah,
cool.
Two other highlights from the judging for me when they're talking to Michaela and the grill she has falls
That
out.
one tooth, that one tooth fall
Yeah.
out. She was like,
It was just one tooth. I couldn't
it
tell.
was just one tooth. She didn't have a grill.
it
She
was
Yeah.
had
one
that
too.
one tooth,
I
baby.
thought it was like a bottom grill, but okay. And then they're like 5-second rule.
5 seconds. She was like,
And then she
I was like, I would have did too. Like, okay. I don't
Did
know
she
if I
put
would
it
have put
back
it
in?
back in my mouth. No, she didn't. She just held it. I
Okay.
wouldn't have put it back in either because I
baby,
don't know who's been
not
stomping on these
after
floors.
touching that stage.
Right.
No, absolutely
ma'am.
not. No.
Oh,
But
the
go ahead.
other
Your other
highlight for
highlight.
me, yes, when they were talking to Jaylene about how she was struggling, and she was just so like she was so gracious about like how everybody was patient with her and really helped her through it. And I'm like, she is an angel, like a literal angel. Just how sweet she is. Like, I just really thought it was beautiful that she took the moment to really like. Most of them weren't there, but she thanked her team for everything that they did to help her through the performance.
She's the
She just
literal angel.
exudes like grace,
Class, grace.
glass.
Oh, she's a literal angel. But we did get our top 3. And our top 3 were Michaela Couture, the Virgo Queen, and Perla. And I agree with this top 3.
Yes, same
I
here.
agree as well.
I agree with this top 3. Couldn't be mad at it.
After the
But
runway, yes.
oh yeah,
Oh, okay. So that knocked
fully.
Uma out.
For sure, for
Okay.
sure. Because here's the thing, I would have been okay if it was just a like a simple but effective runway. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
it wasn't even
it was
that.
not even
It
simple
was
nor
not. It was not simple or effective.
It was
I liked it.
but
we'll get into it. But yeah, that was.
But I liked everybody on the runway, honestly. Like there was
Yeah.
no
It
straight up
wasn't
misses.
bad,
for
but
me.
it was bad enough that
it
kinda
was
bumped
some
your
that
butt.
was better than others for me. It was some that I was like, okay. And then there was other that I was like, okay. So
I'm just
but
since I'm not going to be here for look over here, I'm just going to say my clear top two for runway were Michaela and Perla, and it was pretty close between the two. But I think Michaela was my
Mhm.
favorite.
we will
Those are
disagree
my top
on
two.
that. Those are your top two? Okay, we will
But in a
disagree.
different order.
Okay.
Perla and then Michaela first.
Oh.
But we'll
Oh.
get into it. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get into it.
since
I'm interested now.
just
to know.
just know that's not mine. Well,
Okay.
that
Okay.
those two aren't mine. One of
Ooh.
them is mine. The other is
Virgo's
not.
in
Is
there,
not.
isn't she?
It is Michaela and Virgo.
Okay.
Those are my two.
Okay.
It is Michaela and Virgo.
Well, then I hope those are
period.
your three because Perla looks so dang good.
Oh, Perla was right there.
Okay.
That's why she was in my top three. And
So
she
we all have the same top three
the top
Mhm.
runway
three,
looks,
but
just in
different
different orders.
Mhm. Very
Absolutely.
fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the winner this week, y'all, called her shot and made it work. Is Miss Michaela
Period.
Couture.
It's due.
It is due.
It is
Period.
due.
Period.
It
Period. It's like
feels
she ain't.
correct.
It feels correct. It's like she ain't won already. Oh, okay. But yeah, she won. Here we go. So very happy for Miss Michaela Couture.
And
But
to have her first win be the girl group.
Oh, it sounds correct for me. But that does leave our bottom three of Xana, Jailing Time, and Helena Poison. And they have to go to the back and plead their case to Michaela. Which one gets the Golden Beaver?
Now, my immediate thought, and it's probably the person who likes watching strategic reality TV in me, but
Mhm.
immediately when I knew Michaela was the winner and this was the bottom three, my mind went to, okay, where did you all vote last week on who should get the Golden Beaver? I'm like, Xana, oh, you said St. Gina. Jaylene, oh, you said St. Gina. Helena, oh, you said Michaela.
Mhm.
Let's see how this
I
turns out.
forgot about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I didn't forget about that at all
Oh
because
no, I forgot that Helena had said Michaela, but I
Yeah,
did
no.
remember that Jaylene and
Xana.
Xana didn't. So that
I
makes sense.
thought I was right there with you, David. I was like, my strategic game mind just is kicking in, and my spidey senses is starting to work. And I'm like, who voted for me? You voted against me. You voted against me. You voted for me. And now who's holding the beaver? Choices have to be made. You know, it wasn't a hard choice because they came back. And Michaela gave Helena the Golden Beaver. And
That's true.
we did have some untucked stuff to talk
We do.
about but I just had to throw that in there because
And to be fair, she's the only one who hadn't already gotten it. So
Period.
I think that also
It
makes
is her
sense.
first time in the bottom
yes,
as
Right.
well.
yes,
So
yes. But we do have some other stuff. I just wanted to throw that out there because we was
Yes.
talking about it. But yeah, the Untucked happened and we did hear please. Sort of. We heard okay.
Well, before that, they even start telling like who's in the top and who's in the bottom.
Oh my god, that was
that
And
was
when Helena says that she's
Uma.
in the bottom, Uma's like, "Oh, really?" And everybody's like, "Wait a second. Who did you think was in the bottom instead of her?" And Uma's very honest about it, and she's like, "Well, I wasn't sure about Michaela."
which is fine. It's not. She didn't say like I. Go. This was too much, but
I mean, she did say, she said, I thought it was Michaela and Xana. Like, I thought y'all was going to be in the bottom. And then she changed it and said, I mean, I wasn't sure about Michaela. So because Michaela was like, did I hear right? Did she just say? And Xana was like, yeah, she said what she said. And she was like, oh, okay. And then Uma changed it and was like, I wasn't sure about Michaela being in the top. And so I think in that instance, Michaela felt like, now you backtracking. No, you said what you said. You said that it was me, and then you changed it and want to say you're not sure. Now, if she would have said she wasn't sure from the jump, I think maybe Michaela would have been like, okay, Okay. But you literally like, yeah, I thought you were in the bottom. And Michaela was like, what? So it was kind of, I get Michaela, but I do understand Uma wasn't trying to just go there. But like I
It's,
No.
said at the
it's just
beginning,
because I
like we said at
understand.
the
It's
beginning,
because
hold on, but wait. Like we said at the beginning, everybody is on high alert. Everybody is on I wish you would factor. So it really had, anybody could have said anything to any of them in that moment, and it still would have had the same outcome because they are all on like jump factor right now. You said what? We in defense mode. So I think that's why Michaela took it that way. And that's why Uma was like, no, I ain't say it that way. But if you want me to say it like that, I think Uma was coming with a little oomph to it. I loved it. I love to see it. It was wild though.
Yeah, and I don't want to invalidate Michaela's feelings at all. Like I
Not at
get,
all.
like, especially after you just got the win and you're hearing this, that would be annoying.
Period.
But for me, the person that I kind of could relate to in the situation more is Uma, because I've been misunderstood like that. Because I do think it was a misunderstanding. She's like, no, I was saying like the people I knew were in there were Perla and Virgo. I knew that Jaylene and Xana would be in the bottom two. So that only leaves two people to be
and she
in either
liked what
spot.
Helena did, so she thought Helena was going to be in the top.
Yeah.
And then because
And
Michaela was the only other person left, she then thought that maybe because she thought Helena was going to be in the top, then by default,
By
Michaela
proxy.
had to be in the bottom.
it makes
So
sense.
it's,
Like,
I understand, but I
yeah,
understand Michaela as well, reacting like, "Bitch, I won, and you're saying I should be
right.
in the bottom." I
Especially
get
because
it.
I think Helena was in the bottom more for things that were going on visually and not
Mm,
for actually her verse. And Uma's over here doing her own choreography. She can't see
So
that
she couldn't see
she's
it.
getting
Yeah.
tripped up by Jaylene a little bit. Um,
right.
like you weren't getting tripped up by Jaylene. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Worrying
I
and
don't want to blame.
yeah.
I don't want to blame my sweet angel Jaylene.
I mean,
No,
if we're
because
gonna be
also Helena
fair,
could have chosen to not help Jaylene.
Right.
But I
absolutely,
like
she
that
could have just
Helena
did it.
chose to help Jaylene. But yeah.
And I like that Helena was like, I am not going to apologize for looking out for Jaylene. That's just what we
Mhm.
did, and I'm going to do it every time.
Yep.
And so I love that she did that. And I love that Jaylene even acknowledges, like, yeah, I needed some help and they helped me and they, got me through this. So I don't think it was I don't think that either one of them would have did it any differently if they, could go back in time and do it again. It probably still be the same outcome.
Mhm. And then we see Jaylene is getting emotional, and Michaela tells her that she's a superstar.
You are a
And
star.
the way that touches Jaylene is just so endearing as well. Like I really just love these two and their relationship that we have gotten to see on the show together. But you could just, she's like coming from somebody who's 21 years old and has like so much going on for her. Like that means a lot. Did you see me as a star? And yeah, I thought that was a beautiful moment.
I think
Please,
it's
please,
a
please,
lot. I
please,
think
please.
it's
Hold on, real quick. Please remind me to mention something about this at the end of this
Okay.
episode. Please remind me.
okay. Okay. But to me, I also love that moment, and to me, it kind of feels like it's Jaylene having the realization that like she is to younger people the person that she wished she had in her life when she was that age. And to
Mm-hmm.
know that today she is that person that she wished she had, but she is that for other people, I think it's that
Yeah.
emotion that she's feeling. I from what I
Yeah,
saw.
and absolutely, and I think her being 52 in this space with these young girls who's 21 and a little older, and they see her. She feels seen in a place in the time where sometimes people her age are not seen. They are discarded. They are thrown away. It's like you've done your part. Now step aside, old lady. But she is seen and she is loved and she is cared for and people are looking out for her and then they're acknowledging her for what she has brought into this space and brought and done for the drag community. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And she felt seen and recognized. And I love that for her. And that she got that from someone like Michaela, who is 21, and be able to show her, like, teach her things that she didn't even know. Like, I've said this a lot in my life. I'm 46 years old, but I still am open to learn from the younger generation, because y'all are doing some things that I would have never in my wildest dreams thought to do, and be so bold and brazen to say it and do it. And it's like, oh, why not? Why can't I do that? Why can't I be bold? Why can't I speak out about things? Why can't I stand up for what I know is right, instead of keeping it to myself and like, I'll just deal with it myself? Like I was taught my entire life to, you don't bring your outside stuff, your inside stuff to the outside. You leave all that in here and you fix it on your own. Now it's like, no, I can't do that. I can't fix it on my own. I need to talk about it and get some kind of conversation to help me through it, and I can be bold and I can stand up and do some things I would never have done before. So I love that she's open to learning, and they're open to listening and learning from her. It was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful
She
moment.
even talked about it later, but
Yep.
about the power of community, which
Mhm.
is period.
Period.
Yeah, the only other thing from Untucked that stood out to me was when Xana was talking about, oh, I know what's going on. My team was just so good, and I'm basically the Kelly of the group. And you see Minnie, like, just
Kelly?
Minnie looks up and she's like, Kelly or Michelle? And Xana's like, Kelly.
I was like, the shade to Kelly, I will not take it, ma'am. That was
I don't think it was meant to.
Xana said, I just saw a messy man.
I think that Xana was saying, "Oh no, I'm not third tier. I'm second tier."
So, right? She's like, "No, I wasn't that bad. I was just second.
Mm-hmm.
I was just second."
Maybe, at least she didn't say she was Farrah.
I mean,
well,
who? No, no, I know, but no, I was like, not the Kelly slander. Oh my god! First of all, but yeah, I loved it, but it was wild. But then we had Helena gave her point, was like, look, I've been safe. I've never been on the bottom. I've been top safe a lot this entire time. So I feel like maybe I have more to show. So I would love to get the beaver. And like I said before, Michaela agreed with her and was like, absolutely.
And I don't think for that reason that she got the beaver, but
no, I think it's because you voted for her to stay and the other two voted for her to go and not get the beaver last week. I mean, that might have had something to do with it. Might have a small part to do with it. But your track record could also be a good reason why she kept you. Which left our bottom two as Dana and Jaylene Time. And they did a lip sync to our guest judge song. Gosh, I've had the name and it just went away from me. Can't remember the lip sync name. All I know is a lot of la la la's in the song, baby.
It's a Love Inc. song. That's all
Love
I know.
Inc. song. It was. Oh gosh, I had it.
Title unknown.
I'm not Logan, so I didn't remember. But they did the song. It was a decent song. I don't think this was the best lip sync song, but it was a decent song. I don't know. What y'all think about this lip sync? Because I think it was very close to call for me.
Really?
Very close, but both underwhelming. But Xana did better. But it was just, was it horrible? No. Was it entertaining? No.
Yeah, it's not my favorite lip sync. Yeah, going into this, I was like, there's no world where Jaylene is leaving this early. Like, that's just not, like, Jaylene's in the finale. Like, I don't know why this whole season I've just felt like she's a lock for the finale. Even like after my roommate watched this episode, I was talking to him before I watched it, and I was like, okay, these are who I think is going to be the top four, and I included Jaylene in there. And so I was just like, there's no world where she can go. But after watching the lip sync, I actually didn't think it was that close. I think Xana pretty handily won this, and I don't think that there's any world where they could have realistically said, Jaylene, you won this lip sync, and it not to be like a little weird.
I mean, they just did it on Thailand. So why not? I could
Well,
see it.
well, are you talking about in the finale on Thailand?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's different because that's not just the lip sync that makes you win. Like when
That's
it's for
true.
the
Well, yeah,
crown,
but
it's your whole.
a lot of times, even in the middle of the season, girls didn't
Hmm.
necessarily win the lip sync, but because they had a good track record, they stayed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have
So
been one of the more surprising lip sync results if
yeah,
Xana had left for me. And I'm not saying Xana was incredible. I just you could tell this is not a song that Jaylene probably lip syncs to very often, even though she loves the song. I just didn't get that this is her particular performance type of vibe. So for me, Xana pretty handily won it.
I mean, I would not say handily. I think because it was moments of the lip sync that I was like, Xana, what you doing, girl? It just like you said, River, both were underwhelming. I don't think either one of them did a phenomenal job. And if they decided to double sachet, I probably would have been like,
yeah.
okay, I get it. Because it was an underwhelming lip sync, but I don't think they wanted to do that because the guest judge was there and that was her song, and that would have been like both of y'all sucked at my song. So that was kind of, and I don't think it sucked. That's not the word. It didn't suck.
Definitely
I
not.
just think it was just not as entertaining on either one of them. For me, I felt it was closer because Xana gave the last half is when she started to do something that I was like, okay, now she's performing again. She's getting into the perform. The first half of that lip sync, I was like, both of y'all ain't doing nothing but twirling, and I need y'all to stop twirling and start singing. What stood out for me with Jaylene is I felt like she was giving me more to the camera face and knowing I knew she knew the words. And with Xana, I think her outfit was so big and illuminating that when she moved and it was all over the place and it kind of hid her face some and a lot, and she was doing a lot of turning back to the stage and walking back to the front and a lot of back and forth. I was like, do she not know the words? Is she hiding that she doesn't know the words? And then she'll come back when she know the words. And it just felt like very disjointed for both of them. I think both of them probably would say this wasn't our best lip sync that we've done. I think they probably both would agree with it. But I think Xana did win the lip sync because towards the end, she started to actually perform it a little bit more while Jaylene was still just twirling around a little bit. But I just don't think it was very I think it was a very underwhelming, I won't say under, just whelming. It was a very whelming lip sync. Not bad, not great, just fine. But I do think Xana probably won it in the end. And unfortunately,
This is horrible. I hate it. I hate it.
ugh,
I agree,
ugh,
but I hate it.
I agree, but I don't like it. The
Mm-mm.
only thing that I liked about this ending was knowing that I was going to be able to talk to Miss Jaylene Time today. And when I saw it and watched this last night, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, I have to mentally prepare myself to talk to Mother because I was like freaking out because I love Jaylene Time so much. And y'all, if you have not already checked out the exit interview, you need to go do it now because when I tell you everything that we saw on the show about Jaylene Time is 100% facts. And she gave such a great interview. And it was so much fun to just sit and listen. Just let her talk and be in her presence was all I wanted to do. And she's amazing. And what I was saying to remind me of, I remembered she talked about that very moment of
Mhm.
Michaela saying she was the 21 and she's a star. She was like, I felt so loved in that moment and so appreciated in that moment because a 21-year-old was telling me I'm a star, and to see how bold and outspoken and how they live taught me I could do the same thing. It was go check out that interview, y'all. Y'all need to check it out. Jaylene is amazing. She is Mother. She is all the way around Mother, and I
Absolutely.
love her. Love her. Love
There
her.
was a moment like I love when during the elimination we have a moment, and when Xana went to hug Jaylene,
Mhm.
Jaylene looked at Xana and said, we do this together for each other. And that, like, what the impact that Jaylene has with just a few words, but the correct words in the correct
Ooh.
moment, just that's mother. See that,
She's
and
mother.
she is reminding us. Jaylene is such an important person in the drag world and just in the world in general because she's reminding us of how important it is to foster a community and how important that
Mhm.
is to us, and that we do not need or have to do this ourselves.
Nope.
We are here, we need to learn and go back, circle back to
Circle
our
back.
ancestors and
Yep.
kind of bring back community, bring back um that feeling of just collectiveness.
Yep.
And I love her for it, and we need to take her word and learn from it.
Absolutely.
She's so important.
She's important.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said. Yeah, when I found out I wouldn't be joining
Oh,
for this exit interview, I was so upset. You all have no idea because Jaylene is so important. I'm very glad because I should be meeting her in London next month
yes,
at
you should be.
DragCon, so I'm very excited for that. But this season has been so good for me, and I think everybody in the cast, all 11 of them, have been
Hmm.
essential to my enjoyment of this
Yes.
season. Jaylene is the special ingredient for me. Like she is,
The heart.
The
yeah,
heart and
she
soul.
is the thing that puts us over the edge for me. So I think there's going to be a huge hole.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the season's gonna go off the rails or get worse, but there is gonna be an element that I'm gonna be missing. I can't help
Hmm.
but miss it because Jaylene is just somebody I'm so drawn to. She brings out the parasocialness in me. Like I'm like, I need you in my life. I want you to be my friend. I've been feeling that way since the first episode. I just think she's an amazing person and an amazing drag artist as well. And I did listen to the exit interview and I was living for the whole thing. It was very emotional. Tears were shed in that interview. You all
Yes.
did a great job.
Mhm.
It's my favorite interview that we've done so far.
She made it so easy to just live in the moment with her. And I was just like, Logan, I don't know if we go through all these questions that we prepared. I said, we don't really have to. Let's just give her the space to just share her wisdom and give her a question and let her talk as long as she wants. And we'll figure out how to wrap it up in time and whatever. And we did it. We did just what we were supposed to do, but we gave her the space to just talk. And I enjoyed it for like, I love all the interviews that we do, but I think this was my favorite for a whole nother reason. Jaylene time is important and it's special, like you said, River. I love her. I'm going to put a clock in my name from now on because of
I
her.
love
uh,
that.
Because
I
it's
am going
time.
It's
Yes.
time.
Mm,
I'm
it'll
going to
fit
put a
well
clock
with
in
my
my name.
moon.
Absolutely. I will be putting the clock in my name. So next time y'all see me on this podcast, I will have a clock in my name and you'll know why. I love her. But there is time for the draft update.
There
Ugh.
is. There were a few shakeups, nothing too extreme, but in sixth place, we do have River with 34 points. Fifth place is Eduardo with 35 points. Fourth place is Logan with 36 points. Keep going up one at a time. Third place is Lana with 37.5 points. uh,
Okay.
and then second place is David with 44 points, despite still having
Oh,
my own whole team here still.
wow.
And then first place is Brandon with 48 points. Brandon is really doing well because he has the two people with the most points, which is Virgo and Minnie.
Okay. Wow, not me doing a jump from 2 spots. Woo, woo, woo.
Not me having the mini challenge winner and the winner of the challenge and still being last.
It just is.
I live.
I live for this. I love it. I love it. But that's it, y'all. We talked enough longer than what I thought we were going to talk, but it is what it
Well,
is. Sorry, David, you're going to be super late for your party, but it was a good
he's
episode.
gonna be
So
tardy for the
for the
party.
party, ooh, but it's okay. It was a good episode, and we had to give Miss Jaylene time her props. Period. You are a queen, mother. Um, but we will be right back because we got to talk some looks. So we'll be back for look over here. Not David because David got to run, but me and River will be here and we'll go through some looks. I think it's going to be interesting to see what we talk about. But we appreciate you all. Y'all know what to do. Hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, do all the things. Follow up, get all the links, follow all the other channels, the audio podcast links, the Patreons, the socials at the Cut Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can follow David and myself on all of the things. You can get your cup merch because you should want that. And I'm rushing through so we can let David go. So good night, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.